Hey everyone, I hope you are doing well. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at another Ultra League team, actually. It's been a while since I last did a video, just been a little bit busy as of late. But here we are with a video in the Ultra League in the Go Battle League. So this is a team that I saw on PvPoke, and I definitely wanted to give it a try, just because I actually do have all three of these Pokemon built for this account. And the team consists of a Charizard lead, and then two of the Swords of Justices in the back. So we have the Cobalion, usually as a designated safe swap, and then we have Virizion in the back. The Charizard, of course, we already know very well. It's pretty much meta right now with Wing Attack and then Dragon Claw Blast Burn. Cobalion has some pretty good utility too. It's great against the Steels, it's great against Poison types. Neutral to Fairy, and great against Dark types, of course. And then Virizion, it's also been seeing a pretty big rise as well lately. With this moveset, I am running the Leaf Blade and Sacred Sword. There is a case to be made where you can definitely be running the Stone Edge, but I just felt like with this team and what PvPoke recommended was to stick with the actual Leaf Blade moveset here, just because you will have much more coverage against Pokemon like a Tapu Fini or a Regirock, for example, or not Regirock, but yeah, just other Pokemon that you'll see, like the water types mostly will do a lot better with like Swampert too. But yeah, that is the team, and without further ado, I'm actually going to go ahead and get straight back into the commentary here. This is the first battle. And there was a Melmetal lead, which is terrible for my Charizard, and the Cobalion was not able to flip the matchup here against the Poliwrath, so I decided to just sack my Charizard. And now the Virizion is up here against the Melmetal, but it is staying in, which tells me that there's something in the back that doesn't want to see the Virizion. And there it is, it's the Alolan Golem, which is completely walled here by the Virizion. None of the moves that the Alolan Golem can throw will really be threatening to my Virizion at all. Volt Switch does nothing. Rock Blast does nothing really, and Stone Edge will do some damage, but not a lot here. And the Golem does double shield, but there's really nothing that my opponent can do here at this range. I'm going to go ahead and no shield, of course. All the moves that the Golem can throw are resisted, as I mentioned before. Rock Blast, you see that just does nothing. And my opponent realizes that it's over for them, and they concede the match. Hopping into the next battle here, we have Charizard up against a Trevenant. This is a good lead, but unfortunately I make a very bad mistake here and I threw the game. So unfortunately for me, what I should have done is I should have swapped right into my Virizion instead of my Cobalion here. Because the Cobalion here will actually lose this matchup against the Machamp, unfortunately. So there isn't really much that I could do here in this instance, and I also threw on alignment, giving the Machamp a free counter. And as you can see, I am no longer able to reach the second Sacred Sword, which would have either gotten a shield or flip switch, both of which would have been helpful here in this case. But unfortunately, neither of that happened, and I do lose the alignments here, which will actually be costing me this game. So I do need to shield the Charizard against a potential Rock Slide here from this Machamp. And this is a Rock Slide, so now I'm going to be able to farm this thing down. But now, unfortunately for me, the opponent has a Greninja, so that's actually bad. I do need to chip this a little bit with a Dragon Claw, and what I should have done here, I should have also thrown a Blast Burn. It does more damage, even though it's resisted. And now I'm going to pivot into Virizion, but of course being down to shield, and of course the Virizion is of course completely walled here by the Trevenant. This game is no longer winnable for me. I am now in a losing situation. So I'm going to just go ahead and try to fire off Leaf Blade after Leaf Blade here against this Trevenant. But unfortunately it doesn't do enough damage. And of course the Greninja is still very much alive there in the back with two shields to hide behind. And of course the opponent is going to no shield all the moves here from my Virizion and also the Charizard, just because there's still the Greninja in the back with two shields, so there's basically nothing that I can do here to win this game at this point. I am able to get to one more Leaf Blade, which is nice for me. But at this point, I realize that the game is over, and I'm just going to no shield the potential Shadow Ball here from the Trevenant when the Charizard does come in. So the Charizard is going to come back in, but they are going to get hit with a move. So I realize at this point that there is no longer a win condition, and I'm just going to go ahead and let this move go. It's the Shadow Ball. And then, of course, the Greninja is still very healthy, and they're going to snipe me with a Water Shuriken. So good game. Well played to my opponent there. Hopping into the next battle, we have a Charizard against the Armored Mewtwo. So this is a Pokemon you don't really see too often anymore. Armored Mewtwo is actually still very underrated, but very good actually, just because of its bulk. It does hit okay. It does have good coverage with Dynamic Punch or the Rock Slide, depending on what you want to cover. So I am going to go straight for the Blast Run here against this Armored Mewtwo. So this is good for me. I'm able to get some nice damage here. I am going to shield the Side Strike. I do want to be able to take this thing out because this Armored Mewtwo is not going to be good for my backline. Unfortunately, I did throw an alignment there, giving my opponent a free confusion, which is not great. And I am going to try to catch the next Side Strike onto my Cobalion, which I'm able to do successfully. So the Cobalion is going to absorb this Side Strike, no problem. And my opponent is going to now bring a Galarian Stunfisk. So this isn't a bad matchup here for Cobalion. So I'm just going to go ahead and sack Cobalion at this point because I recognize that the Virizion actually has a much better matchup against the Galarian Stunfisk, just because all of its energy is walled against the Virizion. So there's no reason for me to keep the Cobalion anymore. I'm going to go ahead and let this move go. If they throw Earthquake, so be it. But they actually bait with a Rock Slide, expecting me to shield for some reason. And I was not going to shield my Cobalion at all. And I'm going to go ahead and throw a Sacred Sword here. The Stunfisk will either need to let this go or commit a shield. So they do shield, but then I'm able to make another Sacred Sword here right on the CMP tie. So this is going to be either forcing the final shield from the Stunfisk or knocking it out. And my opponent decides to let it go, so that's fine. And now they come in with a Gardevoir. So this is actually not that great either, but I'm going to be able to fire off the Sacred Sword here to get some chip damage against the Gardevoir. But now I have to bring back in my Charizard, and I need to land a Blast Burn successfully, otherwise I do lose this game. So the Charizard is going to go straight for the Blast Burn here, no baiting, and the opponent didn't call the bait successfully. And that's pretty much going to be a good game. Well played to my opponent. Hopping into the next battle, we have Charizard up against a Venusaur. So this is a great lead where you want to see it. And my opponent is going to swap into an Ampharos, and I'm going to swap right away into my Virizion. Just because of the it's because I mostly hard wall its moveset, and unless they're running Focus Blast, and this Ampharos did build up to the Focus Blast, so I'm going to let it go. I know I can survive it. It is the Focus Blast, which is does a lot of damage. I'm going to go ahead and go straight for Sacred Swords here up against the Ampharos. I potentially could have just gone straight for Leaf Blades. Maybe it would have done a little bit more damage, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and now throw another Sacred Sword here after they throw their Volt Switch, which is on good timing here, as you can see. I'm going to go ahead and now throw another Sacred Sword here, but 2 more double kicks will actually not KO. They do survive with 1 HP here in a Dream. I'm going to go ahead and shield this move. I do want to flip switch. And then they go for a Brutal Swing here, but that's fine. So now I have 2 Sacred Swords here to chuck against the Venusaur. Won't do a lot of damage at all, just because all of its moves are resisted. This is a case where Stone Edge would be nice to have, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and fire off a Sacred Sword. But I already have a hard check to this Venusaur in my Charizard, and also the Cobalion can do pretty well against the Venusaur too. So I'm going to go ahead and come back in with the Charizard here at this point. I'm going to go ahead and let them throw a Sludge Bomb here. This will be doing a lot of damage, but that's fine. I just hope that the Cobalion can deal with whatever they have in the back. So let's see what they do. I do throw a Dragon Ball here, and let's see what the opponent does have in the back. It must be something that doesn't want to see a Charizard either. So now they're coming with an Obstagoon. So this is great. So this is why I have Cobalion as well. It would have been better to align the Virizion onto this Obstagoon just because it takes neutral from the cross chops and resisted damage from the Night Slash. But the Cobalion here does take super effective damage from the cross chop. But luckily, cross chop from the Obstagoon doesn't really hit too hard because it's not stab. So they do go for a cross chop, which does do some nice damage. But that's okay. I do know now that the win condition here is with my Cobalion. All I need to do is shield this cross chop, and then I just need to reach 2 Sacred Swords to knock out the Obstagoon here. So I am basically right now at the Sacred Sword, and the Obstagoon is not yet at the move. So I'm going to be throwing the first Sacred Sword here to grab the shield from the Obstagoon, and then I have the second one right here locked and loaded, ready to go. And this is going to be more than enough from this range to be knocking out the Obstagoon. So that's going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. And now we're going to hop into the next battle here. We have Charizard up against a Alola Muck. So this is actually a very interesting matchup. I definitely do not want to have my Virizion aligned against this Alola Muck. And they are running Poison Jab, so I definitely want to keep that away from this Muck. And I'm going to go ahead and CMP tie this Muck to a potential Dark Pulse. And they are going to respect it with respect the Blast Burn with a shield, and I am going to commit a shield back in return here up against the Muck for a potential Dark Pulse. And it is, so they do fire the Dark Pulse, and I will commit the shield here. So what I'm going to do now is I need to build right back up to the Blast Burn, and then I'll bank it and then come back in with a Cobalion and see what my opponent has in the back. So my opponent is going to be firing off a Acid Spray here. They do want to get the debuff off, and then they are going to come in with an Ampharos now. So this is okay. I'm going to be starting to fire off some Sacred Swords here up against this Ampharos. The first one will come in, do some nice damage, and then the Ampharos is at a move, and this is going to be a Thunder Punch because Thunder Punch requires 3 volt switches to get to here. So it is Thunder Punch, which does a good chunk of damage now that I have been debuffed here. So I am going to build up to the back-to-back Sacred Swords here, and this is going to be knocking out the Ampharos or grabbing a shield. So they do let this move go, and it does take out the Ampharos. And in the back we have a Lapras. So this is perfect. So we have the Virizion now aligned up against the Lapras, and then we also have the Charizard to line up against the Alola Muck. So this is perfect. I'm going to now come in with Virizion. Only thing I really need to be careful of here is the potential Ice Beam. But Ice Beam does not one-shot the Virizion here, so I can still safely no-shield. And it is the Ice Beam, which does a big chunk of damage here to my Virizion. And now the opponent does swap back into the Muck. I am going to be firing off a Sacred Sword here to do some nice chip damage to hopefully get the Muck into Dragon Claw range. And then what I need to do is now rebank a move here onto this Virizion, and I am going to be able to CMP tie the Alola Muck once again to the move. And this is the Dragon Claw here, and they are going to shield. And I do have to call that the opponent is going to go for an Acid Spray here. So I no shield, and it is the Acid Spray, so this is perfect. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let my Charizard get as low as possible, and then I'm going to be firing off this Dragon Claw to take out the Mug, and this will only give the Lapras 1 Ice Shard's worth of energy. So that's great. And now I have the move up against the Lapras, so I just need to hope that the Leaf Blade from this range will be able to take out the Lapras. So there we go, and it does take out the Lapras, and that's going to be a good game. Very well played to my opponent. So that's the team, everyone. Charizard in the lead, 2 fighters, the Swords of Justice in the back, in the Cobalion and the Virizion. So if you're ever in the Ultra League, once again, whenever the leagues rotate once again, this is a great team to run, and I highly recommend it. So let me know what you guys think about this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please feel free to give this video a like and subscribe. Any support will really help this channel to grow. And if you guys would like to stay notified of any upcoming videos that I put out in the future, Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you will stay up to date with any new videos that I will be posting. So that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.